Hey there, I'm Tommy from Tommy's Trading Post, and this is episode 4 of our breakdown. As you can tell, I'm not doing these weekly anymore. I am doing these monthly, and I will go through what it's like to build a trading card business solely around Star Wars. I'll dive into my performance in November. I'll show you some of my highest sold cards that I had this past month. And then a little bit later, I'll talk some business stuff of things that I've changed and then dive into a little bit of my personal collection. So let's get into it. So diving in, let's start with the traffic side of things this past month in November. As you can see, we had a pretty good month overall. A lot of things up, impressions up, listing views up, quantity sold is up. But some important things that I look at are the sales conversion rate here, with that being down. And a lot of that, what I'm thinking is the singles that I'm selling are bringing in views but not selling as much, and that's kind of dropping the conversion rate just due to the fact that my variation listings normally sell pretty well for the views that they get. You can kind of see the trend here, a little bit of a dip as we get a little bit through the month towards the end. You see listing views. The one thing that I found extremely interesting is the external being a lot more than it was before. And I'm thinking that some of this is due to the fact that I send a thank you note with my website on there. And on my website, there are links to specific listings or groups of listings. That's kind of the big thing that I've thought of. The other thing is when I switch to white backgrounds, again, I mentioned how Google likes this more. So I'm wondering if that has some play in there to see that many external views and that high of a percentage compared to the month before was pretty shocking to me. The other big piece of this is promoted listings. So again, eBay announced how they're changing promoted listings in January, and I'm switching my strategy based on that. I have lowered my percentages a ton. I don't put any promotions on singles that I list. It's only on variation listings. So I continue to drop those, and you can see the promoted listing views down, but I'm not too concerned as we can see that, total views are up, quantity sold are up. So I'm not too scared. The big thing I'm focusing on is just building that organic. Again, having variation listings that have sold a ton, they get a lot of views. The goal is for those to bring in traffic to the store so that people can see the singles that I have. We'll dive into quantity sold quick. As you can see, it kind of showcases that with a lot more organic sold and a lot less promoted. Again, drop the percentage. I'm not doing it on singles, and I'm selling a decent amount of singles as well in terms of not on my variation listings. So with this being up, this being down, I'm totally okay with that, especially with the higher percentage with more items sold. You can see that throughout the month, we were actually pretty consistent. There were some days with spikes. As you can see here, we sold 100 plus in one day, but overall pretty consistent around that 20 card mark. Some days a little bit less. Again, very happy with this. Sold 30 cards on average a day. That doesn't include sales that I did outside of eBay with a customer actually coming to the apartment and checking out some cards. And then it doesn't include some lots that I sold where I built the lot specifically for the customer, just due to the fact that they sent me a list and they had things that they wanted to sell me. So again, 30 a day I am pretty happy with. We'll jump over to the breakdown of this past month. And as you can see, 1977 is the big player again. A lot of this being the Series 1, which is not shocking. But the great thing that I saw is there's a good breakdown of the different series here. So we have Series 1 obviously being the big player, but then, Series 3, Series 4, and Series 5 all being over that 100 mark, I'm pretty pleased with, just due to the fact that I don't want it all to be just Series 1s. I want that nice spread. It means my pricing's good and people are getting what they're looking for. The next ones are the 2023s actually jumped up here. So as you can see here, a lot of that coming from the base, the 2023 Chrome Galaxy base specifically, but then just kind of a spread throughout. There's a bunch of inserts, some refractors in here, and I actually started to sell some flagship, which is pretty cool because normally those don't go off too well, but some base and cover arts and laser cuts. I recently redid my photos and listings for those, so I have a feeling that sort of helped with it. And then it kind of goes down from there. 2023, 1980, and 83 were all around that 50 mark, which I'm pretty happy with. Series 1s for both of those normally doing the most, but as you can see, 1980 Series 2 did decent. The one thing is stickers aren't selling as much, which I'll have to kind of look at their pricing, just to the fact that maybe other people are selling them at cheaper and I could give people a better discount there. And then you can see 2022 Chrome Galaxy base had 22 singles go out in that variation listing. I don't sell as many of these. I really need to redo the Galaxy refractors from this year, to redo their images. They are terrible, and I do not blame people for not buying them. And then you get to the other years that, again, I just don't sell as much. 2024, I don't have that much in terms of stock, and the 93, 95 don't go a lot of the time in terms of people buying them, and I just don't have a ton of stock. So when they sell, it's pretty much the only card I have for them. Diving into a little bit of the expenses side as I get into also the sales. So what I do is I track my expenses in terms of bought cards, so inventory, right? But then also in terms of miscellaneous expenses, and I mark them a little bit differently where it's shipping or kept expenses, just due to the fact that I want to know what I'm buying in terms of, or what the amount is in terms of the sales, or excuse me, what I'm buying and how much it's costing me to ship stuff out in terms of penny sleeves, team bags, etc., versus what I'm buying that helps me with the organization side of things, because that's stuff that I'm keeping and it's not going towards shipping costs or anything like that. So as you can see for bought cards, I spent a total of $675, which was not as much as I honestly thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more. A lot of that being the 77s and blue specifically. I was really low on blue stock, and I really wanted to get those cards in because it is what a lot of people are looking for. So I bought a lot of 1977 blues. Some of them had different series in there. This one definitely did. I think it had a spread of all 5 series in there. I bought some 2020s, and these are autoed and numbered cards. I found these on Facebook Marketplace, and it's something that I'm diving a little bit more into, of not just trying to only do vintage. That is my bread and butter in the niche that I love. But getting some of those numbered and auto cards from different years and different series, because it brings in a decent amount of money, but it's also what people are looking for. And if they're coming to Tommy's Trading Post for Star Wars cards, I want to have some diversity in terms of the listings and the cards that I have. And then this 2010s and other random stuff. This is from Tom, and Tom is a great customer, starting to become somewhat of a friend, and it was really cool. He was in the area during Thanksgiving, and I was holding some cards and stickers for him from the 1977s. And so he came to the apartment, and we got to talk and got to meet and talk about Star Wars cards and all of the cards he's looking for to complete sets. I was able to give him some of those cards, and honestly, I paid him for the cards that he had of extras. So that's what this 40 is. And I got to give him some Ahsoka cards for his nephew, I believe, who is an Ahsoka fan, which I was more than willing to do. I love being able to give cards to kids for characters that they like. But overall, again, $675, not bad. And then getting into the miscellaneous expenses. So I have this organization pieces. I'm just trying to tighten up my shipping area a little bit so that it's not as cluttered or messy. So that was one thing I bought, but the rest is all shipping supplies. And you can see the total with all of this, including that kept, is 135, I believe. No, 125, sorry, my phone's covering it. And a lot of that is top loaders, penny sleeves. But I'm starting to do more team bags. It's something I realized I like when I get cards, is cards being in team bags. So anytime I can, I'm putting cards in team bags, whether it's multiple cards or just a single here or there. So I got the standard, and then the graded card, which I also use for multiple cards. If someone buys 6 cards, I'll put all 6 in this team bag here. Diving into the sales report to kind of see the profit that I made. So net sales were around 1,300. That's pretty accurate from what I've seen. So breaking the two down real quickly, you can see miscellaneous expenses 125. And then this being the bought cards at $675, so that's $800. I made roughly $500 net this past month, which is great. I'm in the green, which I was in the green last month for the first time in terms of overall bought cards, expenses, etc. So being able to stay in the green and actually increase my net profit from starting this is really cool to see. You can see compared to, again, October to October 30th, so this is the same amount of days, we had a lot more total sales. We had 30% more in net sales, which is great. The quantity sold was up a little bit. The average sales price is up, and this is mostly due to a lot of those numbered and autoed singles that I have, which I did sell some graded cards as well. Via auctions down, I didn't do as much auctions. I did try doing daily auctions, but they didn't really turn out too well. They're just not sought after cards. They were the 2024 Chrome Sapphires and then some OPG, which one of those OPGs did sell. The fixed price is obviously what's the big increase here. The one thing I do look a good amount at is the total buyers. And just due to the fact that I want to bring in, more one-time buyers in terms of this might be potentially new folks discovering Tommy's Trading Post, but also repeat buyers. This is definitely something I look at in terms of, hey, am I providing a good experience? Do I have the inventory people are looking for? And are they coming back because they're happy with past purchases they've made? And seeing this up almost 100% is really great. The goal is to obviously have this continually increase, month over month, so that people are coming back for more cards. And it might be something to look at more from like a quarter to quarter, because people aren't buying cards every single month. But to see that number up is awesome. And then you can kind of see the breakdown of the days here. We did have one really big day where we had 232 total sales. That's an anomaly for sure. But what I'm very pleased with and happy to see is just the steady, $50, $60, $70, $80 days, where there's not too many of these, massive dips where there's, $10. Even a day with, $22, I'm still pretty pleased with. And to have no days with no sales is something I haven't had before. I think even October, there were days where I didn't have sales. And then you can see my selling costs real quick. So the selling cost here, 806 total. You can see a lot of that's eBay fees. As we break that down, the ad fees is definitely down month over month in terms of total. But the final value fees is a bigger portion, especially with the numbered and graded and autoed cards, with those being higher price points. Those final value fees will definitely be higher. And then you can see the shipping labels is higher as well compared to last month, I believe. And a lot of this is, again, if I'm shipping singles that are numbered, autoed, or graded, they're going USPS, and that's just more expensive than standard envelope. So kind of a high selling cost, but again, if I'm still netting $500, I'm pretty pleased with that. And this kind of is included into my bought expenses that I have. It pretty much covers most of the time, and there's I have a selling or a shipping cap of $4.25 for my variation listings. But most of the time, if it's over that, someone bought 20 cards, I'm only paying $1 or $2 out of pocket to ship that. They're covering the $4.25, so most of the time I'm not seeing too much there. But diving quickly into my highest single sold, so that was kind of the breakdown of the whole month. Getting into the singles, I'm doing this based on the day that they were sold, so earlier in November all the way to the end of November. This is my top 5. So as you can see here, the first one was this 2023 Topps Chrome Galaxy Vader Redeemed. It is a wave refractor, sold for around $40. I think this was like $35 best offer, if I remember correctly. But a really cool card. I didn't have it up for very long. It sold pretty quickly, and went back and forth, I think, on best offer a few times in terms of offers. But that one shipped out. I did run an auction for a 1977 Luke #1 card, and it went for $31.66 plus shipping. Had 18 bids, 89 views, pretty solid. And I actually have one running right now that's going to end today. So we'll see what that one does. This one was pretty beat up, as you can see. The sides are not great, corners aren't great. The centering's decent, but that's kind of the nicest piece of it. The rest is kind of messy. You can see a dot here, but still went for a decent amount of money. Getting into the third one here was the 2022 Topps Chrome Galaxy Super Star Wars. This was the orange refractor. And this sold for full price. I had so many offers on this card, and I just really didn't take them. I gave offers out that were decent, maybe 10% off here or there, but there was so much interest in this card that I was like, I'm just going to leave it. If someone really wants it, they'll buy it. And if someone wants it and they take my best offer of 10% off, they'll take it as well. And it finally sold for the full price. It's a beautiful card. This picture doesn't do it justice. I should have taken it out of the penny sleeve, but a really nice looking card. Had a decent amount of views, but that was kind of over a longer period of time. I had this card up for a while and even had some people on Instagram reaching out about it. Then getting into the next one is this 2023 Topps Chrome Galaxy Dangar, purple refractor out of 50. Again, I think it sold for a little bit under this, $36.99. I believe it went for like 32, but don't quote me on that. And then the last one we had was this 2023 Topps Chrome Galaxy Future of the Jedi. This is a Mojo refractor. This sold for full price, I believe, as well. Really cool looking card. I debated keeping it, but Luke is not my main character that I collect. So decided to let it go. I think it's a beautiful looking card, especially in that Mojo. Mojo is like my favorite refractor. just due to the background of it. So then this one sold for that $45.99. So getting into my favorite cards that I have for my personal collection, I can't do a face video with this as well, just due to the fact that I have just my phone. But this is my collection that I currently have, and you'll kind of see a theme towards the end, but the first one I have is a 2021 Topps Chrome Galaxy Kurosawa. This is just a base, and it's not all that great. There's, some markings and stuff on it, but I do love this card. I think everyone pretty much does. So I picked up a base and threw it in the personal collection. We'll see if I can get something other than a base at some point, but it's honestly just extremely expensive that I don't want to pay for. This is a 2022 Galaxy. It is the Star Wars, and it is a refractor. And this came in a big lot that I purchased back in September, I believe, from Indiana. And I wanted to keep one of these cards, especially a refractor. I think it's just beautiful. And as you can see, kind of getting a Galaxy theme going here. In terms of vintage, I only have one so far that I'm keeping, and this is a Luke Skywalker #1. It's my most centered that I've had so far, but the corners are not amazing on it. The back's pretty solid, but overall, I'm going to keep one of these for myself. It'll just be something that I keep, looking for, and if I get one that's better condition, I'll probably keep it and swap this one out. Then getting into it, you have this amazing scene. I actually have a picture of this at work. We get to pick one picture for a wall that we have, and this is the one that I have. And this is a 2024 Galaxy the High Ground, and it's a blue refractor out of 150. I just love this scene, and I love the way that it's shown here in terms of, Anakin and Obi up here. And I thought the blue was beautiful with the kind of the color that's going on. Then we have a 2025. This is the Obi-Wan GG15 Galactic Gear. Again, I am an Obi-Wan fan, so this is where we get into the Obi-Wan collection. But this is an amazing card in my opinion. I just love the look of it. I also like it being the Clone Wars Obi in this. So this is one that I recently picked up. It's just the base of it, but still a great looking card in my opinion. Then we have a autograph from James Arnold Taylor with Obi-Wan here. I believe this is a 2022 Masterwork card, but it is numbered out of 50. The reason I went after this one is it has the white background with the white of what Obi's wearing, and then I thought the blue auto just popped off of it. So this is the first autograph that I've gotten. Again, this is the Obi James Arnold Taylor, and I am in love with this card. The only thing I wish is that I had a black case for it, but I could not find one for a thicker card. If you know one, let me know. This is another recent buy. This is a 2024 Topps Chrome Obi-Wan, as you can see on the back, and it is numbered to 50. And the reason I like this, again, it's the Obi-Wan from the Obi-Wan show, and I think it just looks really great with the gold being a gold refractor and the green within that. I think it's just a good look. But it's one that I recently picked up and will definitely keep in the collection. Next is this Mojo refractor. This is probably my favorite card, maybe this last one, but this is a 2023 Galaxy? No, 2022 Galaxy, I believe. And it's Obi-Wan and Boga out of 50 Mojo refractor. I love Mojos. I think that looks amazing in the back, especially with a lot of the open space being the Mojo. I'm trying to collect a Mojo or Prism from each of the Galaxies. So this is the one from, again, I think this is 2022 if I remember correctly, but probably my favorite card I have so far. And then last but not least is a 2024 Galaxy. This is a Prism Obi. As you can see, it's the Prism version of this, and this is one of my favorite cards just due to the artwork. Even the Anakin one of this is really great, but I'm an Obi-Wan fan. Prism refractor, and this will definitely not leave the collection unless I can pick up a Mojo of it. Then we'll trade it or we'll sell it or whatever the case. But really good looking card, and it's between these two for which one is my favorite. But I know a lot of people have been asking about my personal collection. I keep it pretty slim just due to the fact that I get a lot of cards. Obi-Wan being my favorite character is the one that I'm going to collect the most, but then there's the odd ones like the Kurosawa or the Luke #1 that I just feel like I need to have one, but that could change at some point, and maybe we'll just go with Obi. So with that, that kind of ends episode 4 here. As you can tell, I'm doing these a little bit differently. Originally, I was going to do them once every week, and with that came a lot of time and effort, but also the fact that I didn't feel like I was talking about a lot of great things. It was just very repetitive. So I'm going to switch to doing these once a month, and then maybe a release of a video, every 2 weeks that are just one-offs of something that I'm doing or something I'm learning. But the goal is to get these up once every month, talk through the sales, the numbers, and all of that fun stuff, and then have some unique piece to it, whether it's like today, showing off my collection, or talking through something around eBay or what I'm doing differently, or maybe a collection I just bought. So that's kind of the route that I'm looking to take these. If you guys like the weekly ones or want something differently, please let me know. But I feel like this is a better way to do it, where I can go a little bit more in depth. It's a little bit of a longer video, but it's more informative. It gives you guys deeper numbers. And then I can do something like showing off the personnel collection. That's kind of fun for me. So I do have a big lot coming in, a big collection that I bought recently, close to $1,000 worth, that I'm sure I'll be going through and making maybe a short video on that as well. But until next time, have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.